Part 22. The Duke's wife is beautiful but has a dark heart. Author, see the peach fish again. Chapter 211. As early as when Wenfeng approached, someone had already handed the news to Wen Yu. What a coincidence. She had taken a brief look at the situation in the store and there was nothing much to do. Holding a pen, I am writing and drawing aimlessly. Once the shop is open, it will take at least a few months for it to stabilize. At that time, she will marry into the Qi family. Most things develop in the direction you want. Wenfeng and the princess couldn't predict their direction, but it was easy to get their shoes wet when walking along the river. In the end, the unlucky one must be Wenfeng, or even the Wen family. So, second uncle, don't be too hasty. It's best to wait until I enter the Qi family. The most ridiculous thing is Wu's. At first, I didn't even realize what she wanted to do. I was still wondering why she was so enthusiastic about my affairs. Until Ziaji found out that she was looking around for shops in Beijing. It turns out that I want to open a branch. It's true, if you are thick-skinned, you are invincible. Has she forgotten that she wanted to kill me at crossing the mountain? No, people like her would think, she doesn't care, so what else can I say? I thought I was honest after the beating, but I didn't expect that he was quite arrogant. I hope my second uncle can bring me a big surprise. Yuan Shi's. She was already thin, but now she has dark circles under her eyes, a knife-shaped face, and an expressionless face all day long, giving her the look of a mean widow. Even the expression on her grandmother's face was different from before when she saw her. But Wen Huan is more calm than Yuan. When you looked at her small room, it was really nice here. She could see a lot of people and overhear a lot of gossip. I've been sitting here for a few days and heard a lot of gossip. When those people talked about their excitement, their voices were loud. Put down the pen and rested his chin on his hand, thinking of the girl today and talking about the time they went to the pear garden next to Fanghua Temple a few days ago. I don't know why His Highness insists on bringing gold. What kind of person is he? He followed again. Isn't it? Talking nonsense to all the women, as if everyone else is interested in him. I won't go there next time he comes. Wen Huan wore a white gauze skirt and walked among the pear blossoms. She was very beautiful. His Highness still stood there and watched. Oh. The result is, so unpleasant. Your Highness is not happy, and I think Wen Huan is very angry. Tell me, does Wen Huan have any interest in His Highness? Huh, if you didn't tell me, I really didn't realize it. It's not like you didn't realize this. When you smiled secretly. But then, the two people's voices became lower. Well, Wen Huan is quite capable and has finally entered the social circle of Prince Yongqing. If that person is really interested in her, don't be afraid. Even if you climb a high branch at this moment, it's not bad to fall hard if you climb high. Besides, it is gold and it will always shine. You have to find someone important from Chiwu to arrange it. Suddenly, someone knocked on the door. When you stood up and opened it, and Zhang Jingqing got in, Sister Au, my brother is here. Where is it? Next to him, he was following his master and a companion, as if he was passing by. I'll go take a look. We went downstairs together and went to the restaurant next door. There were several men sitting at the table near the gate. Elder brother. Zhang Zhangqing was laughing, turned around and stood up. When you came over and said, Brother Zhangqing. Sister Wen. I followed the master out to do some errands and passed by. The master is Wen Yu, the daughter of Uncle Zhangqing. This is my master, Lin. His master Lin Tong was less than 30 years old and was also a son of an official. Zhang Zhangqing didn't know what to call Wen Yu for a while. Lin Tong was very surprised when he saw Wen Yu. What a beautiful girl. Miss Wen. Master Lin, he said warmly and saluted. She saw this man. Although he was not tall, handsome, and dressed simply, he had a stable temperament that people did not dare to look down upon. I heard other people talking about this restaurant, so I happened to pass by today and came to try it. Master Lin, would you like to go to the second floor? It's quieter there when you said. Eat something simple, there's still work to do. Brother Zhongqing, you are lucky enough to have fresh shrimp noodles. Zhongqing smiled and said, you still need to tell me? Before I even entered the door, Li Zhang leaked the news. We can't afford it for 10 taels of silver a set. Then don't eat the same thing, go and cook a few bowls of noodles and bring over some side dishes. Everyone laughed, and Lin Tong said, okay. Today, I also have the honor of being an apprentice. Zhongqing flattered him, on weekdays, I eat and drink with you. Your apprentice is here, finally it's a bit thin, but this is the only place in the whole capital. You're welcome. After a while, the dishes were all served. Wen Yu was afraid that she would be awkward among everyone, so she left first. Qi Yuyi had a good meal at Yuzi Yowei. When he got back, he went to Tan's house and said mysteriously, I booked a private room at Yuzi Yowei. When the time comes, I want to take the old lady and Xiao Yun and Xiao Mao eat. Mr. Tan has recovered a bit in the past 2 days and is in good spirits. Hearing this, he burst out laughing. Mother, why are you laughing? Qi Yuyi was puzzled. Ms. Tan laughed for a while and then asked, you don't know who runs that shop? I do not know. Oh, silly son, you are so stupid, how can I rest assured in the future? Ms. Tan smiled bitterly. Mother, what did you say? Qi Yuyi was very nervous, thinking of Ms. Tan's gloomy expression a few days ago. Ms. Tan didn't hold it intentionally, and said frankly, that shop belongs to your daughter-in-law. She gave it to the Wen family and Xiao's unmarried daughter-in-law took care of it. I don't know what happened specifically. But they are the ones who opened the store. Minghui has been crying a lot these days. She stopped talking and then, as if to react, she forced a smile. How could Qi Yuyi care about such things on ordinary days? So I was a little stunned. Ms. Tan looked at him and didn't want to say any more. Now that you have reserved a private room, you might as well go and support him. I won't go. Xiao Yun, forget it for now. Mother, are you hiding something from me? No. What can I hide from you? The emperor has assigned you a job, just do it well. Don't worry about anything else. She looked like she didn't want to say more. Qi Yuyi had doubts and came back to ask Xiaolin. To be honest, Xiaolin was prepared to marry Qi Yuyi by the Tan family, so she originally invited her nanny to teach her according to the standards of a housewife. Therefore, Xiao Yun is not as meandering as she is. I don't know what is going on specifically, I just heard some gossip. Huh, I'm just like an outsider in this family, Qi Yuyi said angrily. Then he looked at Xiao Yun angrily, why didn't you tell me what you heard? Xiao Yun smiled faintly, yes, Madam gave the shop to a girl from the Wen family to manage. Grandma was unhappy and wanted the uncle to talk to Madam. But for some reason, Grandma got pregnant and went back to her parents' house in anger. The uncle went to pick her up but refused to come back. But a few days later, she came back on her own. Humph, she always makes the house a mess. Xiao Yun knew that she referred to his wife. And there is. Say it. Before the shop opened, I heard that I invited some relatives and friends to come over, hoping that everyone could help me with the details, and even held a banquet. All the Wen family members went, as did my wife's natal family. Old General Kui also invited many friends. In our house, my wife took Bao too. Qi Yuyi felt a little guilty when he heard Xiaolin mentioning his father-in-law. When he came back this time, he was hosting a treat for the Kui family during the Chinese New Year, so he brought some gifts to the door. The Kui family treated him lightly, but he was unhappy and left early. Afterwards, when he saw the Kui family's eldest uncle, he ignored him. He became angry, who is inferior to whom? If you ignore me, I won't move forward. He was just thinking about his own feelings until Xiao Yun said, I didn't even tell my aunt about such an occasion, my aunt feels bad. Actually, Xiao Yun felt calm in her heart. There were clothes, some snacks, so many girls were there, but the lady didn't even mention the kitten. Kittens are good-natured and not picky. Someone asked her to go the day before yesterday. She was very happy, but the old lady stopped her. What is this? But she would not talk to Chi Yi about this. It seems that he didn't realize it either. Actually, it's not appropriate for my aunt to take the whole family there before Miss Wen has even entered the house. So, my aunt doesn't mind either. I haven't paid attention to it these days. Are Chi Xiao and his wife not getting along well? I don't know, it's just that grandma's complexion has not been very good recently. However, I don't care much about these things. Hua's daughter-in-law is about to give birth. I really can't tell that you are going to have a grandson, Chi Yuki smiled. Do you like boys or girls? I like everything related to you, he said love words without blushing. The Duke's wife is beautiful but has a dark heart. Author, see the peach fish again. Chapter 212. In the evening, Chi Wu came again. Standing at the door, Li Zhang and Mu Bo were talking. To be precise, it was Li Zhang who was speaking. Chi Wu was looking at the beggar in the shadow. It was already dark, and the man was dirty, so he couldn't see clearly, but he had an intuition that something was wrong with him. When you came out, what are you looking at? Nothing. Are you going home now? Let's go have a bowl first. Good. As soon as Mu Bo heard that he was eating noodles, he had been listening to Li Jiang's vernacular for a long time, so he followed him in without leaving. Several side dishes and 2 bowls of noodles were quickly served. Chi Wu drank tea slowly, not in a hurry. And Mu Bo had already used his life to hold the bowl and chopsticks, and put it into his mouth. In one bite, less than half of the bowl of noodles was gone. Just after he chewed it twice, he suddenly stopped biting the noodles, and in a blink of an eye. Sure enough, Wen Yu was looking at him with a dark face. He had no choice but to turn sideways, slow down, and chew with his mouth closed. But a bowl of noodles is not even a blink of an eye. After looking at it, he saw no intention of giving him a second bowl. Somewhat disappointed. This little face is not enough for him to fill his teeth. I had to drink the soup cleanly and start eating vegetables. In the end, Mu Ling felt sorry for her brother and secretly brought some buns over. Has mother come today? Chi Wu asked. My wife is not here. After you finish eating, I have something to tell you. She always seems to have something going on. Chi Wu said nothing. After eating, the two of them went out. This time, he didn't need to wait for Wen Yu's invitation. He helped her get into the car and followed her. I would like to ask, Jin Zi is so annoying, why does Yang Qing take him to play? Gold is bad, and so is his father. But my grandfather, I heard that he sold his life several times before he ascended the throne. He also said that he had some people in his hands. However, after so many years, he has not done anything. What do you see? Chi Wu came over and whispered, it's just that the emperor is suspicious, and he really can't tell what he has in his hands. His voice was right in front of her, his breath was hot, and the hair next to her ears was trembling slightly, rubbing her ears. This feeling is wonderful. On weekdays, everything is kept secret. The emperor doesn't treat him far or near, so it's hard to tell. If I haven't checked, I'm afraid that it won't be found out and it will cause trouble. I heard someone say today that Jin Zi is very fond of Wen Huan. When you said with a sneer, I was thinking of getting them together. But Jin Zi's reputation is not good. If we get into trouble with him, the Wen family will be affected. Is the impact so great that I can't enter your house? These words were very cold and startled Chi-woo. What did you say? When you was fine again, it's best to talk about it after I get married. But judging from Wen Huan's actions, I'm afraid I can't wait any longer. If what she is planning is a concubine, then even if Princess Wu and Yongqing are willing, they have to go through the procedures. After all, they have titles, so they can find someone to hold them off for a while. Be prepared for both times. Do you have the right people and arrange them around without attracting attention? Junior sisters from Laba are all excellent little girls, so they should be able to do it. I'll go ask His Highness for someone. It's just. Chi-woo glanced at Wen Yu. His Highness just said that you would send me some noodles, but only a little bit. The worms came out but were gone. He didn't even care about how full they were, so he was a little angry. Then let him come to the store to eat. As long as the money is enough, no one will care if he eats or vomits. Wen Yu also had a bad impression of Taejun. He just complained a little bit, it didn't matter. Chi-woo spoke for his grandson. Eh? Are you talking to him? Who is far and who is near? Do you need me to analyze it for you? Wen Yu became angry inexplicably. Maybe, it's easier for a woman to love, right? Why is she so powerful? Chi-woo stopped talking. Gang Muling also saw the beggar sitting on the steps. When Yanzu came out and got in the car, when he looked again, he had disappeared. Sun Ying also had this thing in mind. He walked and looked around, but the man didn't follow him. However, I was worried that he would hide near the girl's yard in the middle of the night, and if something happened, he would be in trouble. He also wondered how he could provoke such a person for nothing. Although he didn't try anything out, he always felt something was wrong. In a girl's house, there is no room for mistakes. After arriving home, he called his two master's nieces in front of him and gave them many instructions, asking them to keep vigil alternately from today on. As usual, Yanzu went to Lanzhou's house first. She brought some food to Lanzhou and Wu Gui. I asked Li Tan and my mother-in-law, and they said everything was fine. 2 8- or 9-year-old boys were also placed in the room, and Li Tan would be brought out after they were done. Chen Wenjia has gone home and lives with her eldest sister, and the two of them also go to the store every day. So during the day, Lanzhou is at home. Au was also discussing with her. She felt that Lu Lanzhou was alone at home and felt a little uneasy. Lanzhou, otherwise, you come with me tomorrow. Originally, Yanzu wanted to take him to the store. But on second thought, it's not possible. There are many people in the store and the door is always open. If you don't notice and get lost, you will be in trouble. After reading a lot, I went back to the house to freshen up and rest. Now that I'm used to it, I'm not as tired as before. Sun Ying was worried and walked around the house several times. I also turned on a lantern and looked through some hidden corners, but found nothing unusual. However, he knew that doing this by himself was not his specialty. I regretted, I should talk to Miss Wen. He barely slept. It was an uneventful night. Early the next morning, Sun Ying had dark circles under his eyes and wandered from side to side when he went out. No one found. Then he breathed a sigh of relief. When he got to the store, he looked around and found that the man was not there either. Perhaps he's gone? Age is not forgiving. Sun Ying entered Wei. As soon as he found a place and planned to take a nap against the wall, Li Zhang came over and said, he's back again. Wen Fen was holding snacks in one hand and 12 brightly blooming peonies in the other. Dressed casually and elegantly, he arrived at the gate of Princess Huijuan's mansion. The announcement was made and 2 maids came out to pick him up. This road, the houses are decorated with carved beams and painted beams, the roadside is paved with rainflower stones, and there are gardens and ponds. In some places, there are also jade carvings. Although the quality of the jade is not of the highest quality, It is rare to find such a large piece with such fine carvings. The maid was wearing plain clothes and had a slender figure. She did not speak and led the way in a leisurely manner. In short, the life of this princess is very luxurious. We arrived at a place, it should be Xiaoteng. A row of long carved doors in front were all open, allowing sunlight to shine directly into the house. Princess Huijuan is busy with something inside. As soon as Wenfeng saw her, he stopped. Standing there, admiring it with a smile on his face for a long time. It wasn't until Princess Huijuan turned to look at him, her face turned pink and she was a little embarrassed, that he smiled and stepped forward to salute. Don't be surprised, Princess. Wenfeng comes from a small place and has a small official position. This is the first time he has entered such a garden. Seeing the princess again, I was even more nervous. If I hadn't stood there to calm down, I couldn't tell what happened. It's a joke, but the princess blames it. Mr. Wen is really good at talking, come in and sit down. Wenfeng came in and looked at the hall. There was a piano under the window, chess on the table, and many things in the large Bao pavilion. There is a clay stove in the house, where tea is boiled and dried red dates are roasted, filling the room with a fragrant aroma. The princess is indeed an elegant person. This was really different from all the women he had known before. Princess Huijuan really didn't ask about Wenfeng. Why did she ask about him when she had nothing to do? So humble, yet so boastful. Don't let me misunderstand, you have other agendas, Huijuan chuckled. What an injustice. Wenfeng's hometown has been rich and prosperous since ancient times. Even in years of disaster, it rarely has an impact. Therefore, the people are civilized, and people pay attention to elegance in ordinary days. Speaking, it is not like the rigid rules of the capital. Although Xiaoke was not talented enough, he was not able to get into the two rankings like his elder brother. But I have read a lot and learned a lot, and everything I say comes from my heart. No flattery, no panic. If your heart thinks something, you will express it. I have never been in contact with a woman of such high status as the princess. If there is anything wrong, the princess will still forgive you. Look at him holding the flowers and snacks and not putting them down. He just picked up a clay pot and said, "Sir, are these flowers for me? Or do you want to take them back later?" When Qian hurriedly handed over the flowers, I saw flower farmers selling flowers on the road. Looking at them, I felt better. I think the princess will feel the same way. Huijuan took it and a maid came in to put the water in. She put the bottle in by herself. Then he casually placed it on the corner of the table, adding a touch of bright color to the room. Well, she was in a really good mood. For half a day, the two of them chatted and got along happily. Opening the snacks he brought, Wenfeng shook his head. Look, that little girl will think of this to make everyone's money. Why isn't this good? It's not easy to think of this idea. Besides, it looks good and tastes delicious. There's gold in it. The princess ate a piece and was very satisfied. Xiaonazai has studied you women thoroughly and used dirty tricks to make money. It seems that Mr. Wen knows women very well. No way. The two of them chatted and laughed for a long time, and then they became more interested and even played a game of chess. They are both at the middle level. They were locked in a stalemate for a long time. Wenfeng narrowly won, and both of them felt satisfied. When the princess served tea to see off the guests, Wenfeng felt reluctant to part with it, but he did not dare to make tea as hard as he did to other women. He bowed his hands and left gracefully. Huijuan looked at the empty house and felt a little disappointed when he thought of the man's playful laughter just now. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Duke's wife is beautiful but has a dark heart. Author, see the peach fish again. Chapter 213. Wen Xiangui came back with a depressed look. She packed the snacks and went back, studying them for several days. Some are basically analyzed. Some of them are the same as those in my shop, but they have novel shapes. And some, she didn't even know how to make them. Her shop also has masters hired at high prices, but their level is not much higher than hers. Didn't say why. Actually, she doesn't know. With her meanness, who would take it seriously? At home, my mother was joking with my grandmother. Seeing that she was back, Mrs. Wen was very happy. Xiang Xiang, why are you back? She met her grandmother and mother, sat down, and then said, don't you two know? A dim sum shop has recently opened in Beijing, and the business is very good. That day, Xiang went to take a look. Yesterday, Hui Wan, it was the county boss's girl's 6th birthday and she invited her to come to play. I thought those people would get some snacks from Xiang's shop, but one of them showed up. Then she found out that everyone else had gone to the newly opened Yongxiang. I bought stuffed animals and snacks that looked like little rabbits. Although the amount is not large, there are so many dim sum shops in the capital, so it may not necessarily affect her all. However, from her way of thinking, it felt like she was taking away her own business. Hey, what a big deal. Grandma said, that shop is just for you to open for fun and do what you like. If you are lazy, just rent it out. Why bother with all the trouble? Old Mrs. Wen scolded. Wen's mother, Jian, is Mrs. Wen's niece. Tinjian said quickly, Mom, Xiang has been strong since she was a child. She wants the best in everything. My wife has told her so many times, but she doesn't listen. Wen Xiangui was Xiao Qian's firstborn daughter, and she was brought here when she remarried. This marriage is strange, and what is even more strange is that Mrs. Wen really loves Wen Xiangui as her granddaughter. But if a foreigner changes his surname and joins the clan, no one except the old lady will look down upon him. Wen Xiangui was also deeply hurt by the rumors, so she has been strong since she was a child. That's true, my granddaughter is capable, Mrs. Wen said firmly. Actually, this is the affiliated granddaughter, but that's what the old lady always said. Mrs. Wen is quite old. She has snow-white skin and no wrinkles at all. She looks almost like the little Qian next to her. Who runs that shop? Are you so awesome? Old Mrs. Wen asked. It is said that it was opened by Mrs.'s unmarried daughter-in-law. My granddaughter has met her once at Kui's house. However, it is not her recipe, but that of her female companion who grew up with her son. That girl looks so good. Snort. To be honest, she doesn't like Yanzu. Grown up together, are they slaves? No, I'm taking it to Kui's house, my sister is screaming. Then can you think of a way to buy the recipe? Wen Xiangui shook his head, I'm afraid not. If you want to compete with her, then grandma will find someone to buy some good recipes. There are many good food recipes. Thank you, grandma, for being considerate. Oh, there, I also met my father. At the mention of Wen Ruoqing, Mrs. Wen's face darkened. Her mother's face also looked ugly. Xiang saluted his father, but he ignored him. Wen Xiangui complained. Next time you are not allowed to call him. Ask someone to call him back. Old Mrs. Wen suddenly became furious. Nanny Qian next to her quickly said, you are very angry in spring, old lady, please keep it in check. If you cough again, you will have to ask the imperial doctor to prescribe a prescription. The old lady endured it for a long time before snorting. That beggar still stays there every day. When Yanzu left, he was nowhere to be seen. When Yanzu came, he sat on the steps. It doesn't move even if it rains. Very silly. Sun Ying told Wen Yu his worries. He couldn't bear this responsibility. Wen Yu didn't say anything and sent someone to find Zhang Zhongqing. As a result, he went out with his master. The junior brother who came to the restaurant for dinner that day followed him like crazy. As soon as he stepped forward, the beggar immediately turned around and disappeared in a few seconds. But if it were just Sun Ying's fist threats and Li Jiang's verbal attacks, he would not move. Even if Sun Ying beat him twice, he still wouldn't leave. Yanzu couldn't stand it anymore, so he stopped Sun Ying again. The beggar no longer stared directly at her, but always looked at the ground in front of her feet. He will eat if given food in the shop. Neither give nor want. Li Jiang bad boy, his eyes rolled up and he came to his mind. I got some medicine at the drugstore, tried to numb him, and then got it out of the city and threw it far away. So, I put the medicine in the soup and saw him drink it without hesitation. Li Jiang chuckled and got ready to do it. But after waiting for a long time, the man couldn't do anything. After waiting for another long time, nothing happened. Li Jiang was furious, this medicine is fake. So he took the rest and tasted it himself. The next day, absent from work for a day, the number of people making clothes began to increase. Because the first batch of shirtless guests went out and showed off, which played a very good publicity role. The embroiderer's garment making procedures have been straightened out and they can start their work quickly and well. This day was very lively. Yang Xiangdong's wife, Xiao Li, brought her 2 children and the eldest sister's daughter to the store. Wherever Mr. Li goes, there is laughter. She was busy buying dolls for her children and making clothes for her niece. The girl was also 13 or 14 years old, so she said to her, "Aunt, Mother said that the clothes here are expensive and I won't let you make them. She said that I am still growing, and I can't wear them twice before they become too short. It's too wasteful. How long can you wear a skirt? It's too old before it's shorter. Besides, if the skirt is short, you can still add embroidery pieces underneath it." She also just heard what the little girl in the store said. "Auntie, if you don't listen to Mother, then Mother will only talk about me." That girl was wrong too. Her mother was known as the Iron Lady and all her good temper was given to her aunt. "Don't be afraid, your mother told you, my aunt will come and save you." Little Li smiled in a very unpretentious manner. At this time, the little girl in the store received a new customer. When little Li saw it, she quickly grabbed her niece and whispered, "Look, how beautifully this lady is dressed." The niece looked at it and didn't take it seriously. "I saw my little cousin pulling the tail of the toy turtle, so I quickly went over to stop him." Little Li said to the clerk, "Just listen to me, this one and this one are the same. I will measure them for her in a moment." The one who just came in was Wei Xianjiao. She now lives alone and has little information. The reason why she came here was that when she went to visit a familiar store a few days ago, someone asked her if the clothes she was wearing were made by Yang Xiang. Only then did she find out that she had told Yang Xiangdong that day. Yang Xiangdong said, "He really came here. He was treated to a treat by a friend and the meal was not bad." Then, Yang Xiangdong booked a private room and prepared to invite her over for a meal. Wei Xianjiao came here on his own and planned to walk around the store first and then eat nearby. As soon as she entered the door, she saw this little woman laughing and talking non-stop. He planned to go inside to avoid it, but by chance, Master Ching came out to see the guests off. Wei Xianjiao blurted out, "Master Ching." Master Ching looked at it and asked, "Is it you?" He reacted so quickly that Mrs. Song almost blurted out the words, but then swallowed it back. When the guests saw that Master Ching was busy, he smiled and said, "Master Ching, please do your work first," and left. Wei Xianjiao said, "Why did you get to the capital?" "Yes, I've been here for nearly a year." Master Ching's smile remained unchanged. "Is this Cai Luan Pavilion's business?" "No, this is a new shop called Yongxiang." "Oh, that's it." Wei Tingyu had been in contact with Master Ching and knew that except talking to her about clothes, other topics were always like this. "Welcome, do you need me to introduce you?" Wei Xianjiao looked around and said, This place is very special. I'll take a look around by myself first, and I'll introduce it to you later. Okay. There is a private tea room on the second floor. The snacks are good. If you are tired, you can go and have a rest. Isn't it a restaurant? The restaurant is next door. Oh well. Wexler was very bored at home. She had a good eye. After looking at it for a while, she liked it very much. She could come here to spend time in the future. Master Ching went directly upstairs and told Wen Yu. She's here? Master Ching, let someone go and see if my cousin is here. Also, is there a private room reserved for someone named Yang? At this time, an acquaintance came into the store. Wei Xianjiu didn't want to talk to the person, so he went up to the second floor. We opened a private room, ordered a pot of tea, and ordered a snack. There are flowers here, a chessboard on the shelf next to it, and miscellaneous books. I vaguely heard someone in the private room next to me. Quite comfortable. Someone replied to Wen Yu, Song Shang made an appointment with a friend at noon and will be there soon. Mr. Yang booked a small private room. Isn't this a coincidence? The three-chamber trial will be held soon, it should be quite interesting. Wen Yu hung up her veil and prepared to go out, her eyes blazing with excitement. The Duke's wife is beautiful but has a dark heart. Author, see the peach fish again. Chapter 214. At almost noon, Yang Xiangdong arrived and was getting off the bus at the door. Master, a surprised cry. His heart skipped a beat, and he turned to look. Only his wife was seen, accompanied by his children and the girl from the Li family. Hands of people with large and small bags were coming out of the door of the nearby shop, preparing to get into the carriage. His face turned pale and he replied subconsciously, "Why are you here?" Little Li was heartless and happily pulled the children over. "Why are you here?" "I heard that this shop is interesting, so I brought the children to visit." "Father," his two children shouted quickly. "Uncle," the girl from the Li family also bowed politely. Yang Xiangdong nodded slightly stiffly. Just at this moment, Uncle Song's car arrived. Wen Yu, who was peeking at her, almost laughed out loud. But Mr. Song was in the store. He was dressed in a new uniform and with an arrogant expression. He got out of the car and went straight into the store without looking sideways. The waiters in the store are a little afraid of him, and they don't risk their lives as much as they do when greeting other customers. So, the king did not see the king. Little Li was blinking at her husband. What a coincidence. Could it be that the master knew we were coming and came to block us? Yang Xiangdong was nervous. He didn't know if Webster was here. It would be troublesome to meet him here. At the same time, I was also worried that the waiter who would come out to greet me would say something. He immediately darkened his face and said, "I'm here to talk about important business. You should go back quickly. It's not good for others to see you." "Oh, okay," Little Li was obedient. "Then let's go." "Let's go," Yang Xiangdong was anxious. "Let's go quickly. Then next time, please invite us over for dinner." Okay, hurry up. Come on kids, get in the car." Although Miss Li is only 13 or 14 years old, her temperament is more mature than that of little Li, judging from her uncle's appearance. Thinking to myself, this uncle's official business is probably very important. The hot scene that Wen Yu was looking forward to didn't appear, and she was very disappointed. I saw Mr. Li leaving in a car again. Alas! She is too fooling. Should we stop the car and lead her to the private room to grab the bag? Yang Xiangdong stood at the door and watched his wife's car disappear. After dilly-dallying for a while, it was finally confirmed that that clueless woman would not come back again, so I entered the store with confidence. And gave a serious instruction: "I have important guests today, and nothing related to me is allowed to be revealed." "Don't worry, guest, the store understands." As soon as the private room door opened, Wei Xianjiao sat there looking at him and smiling. Why did you come here? Are you in a hurry? He turned around and closed the door himself. No, I've been walking around for a while, but I haven't bought anything I want to buy yet. After speaking, Wei Xianjiao thought to himself, will he say that I will accompany you there later? But what Yang Xiangdong said was, then let's eat quickly. After eating, you go shopping. Just in time, I have an urgent matter and have to go back early to add weight, he added. If I weren't really worried that you were in a hurry, I really can't come today. Oh, Wei Xianjiao's smile remained unchanged, but he was a little disappointed. He has neither time nor money. Qi Yuyi has been busy for a while and has 2 days of rest. Go to Tan's house to say hello in the morning. I saw that except for his wife, Qi Wu, and Qi Hua's wife who was about to give birth, everyone else was there. Humph, Kui didn't even pretend anymore, and his face turned dark. Mrs. Tan understood what he was thinking. Boss, don't be so arrogant. It's my message to your wife, on the 1st and 15th day of the lunar month, it's the new year and the festival. I won't pick her, so don't look for her either. Otherwise, you'd think I'd say one thing and do another. Seeing that Qi Yuyi was still unhappy with his retort, Mr. Tan nodded at him and said, you can find the time to ask about what we talked about last time. Qi Yuyi finally remembered and nodded. Coming out of the old lady's yard, he saw Qi Xiao and Su Minghui rubbing off. Qi Xiao, are you okay today? It's been fine these days. When Qi Xiao came back, there was no one with important duties to help him. His mother and the Kui family didn't care about him, and his father didn't ask. He didn't know where he got a job, so he dealt with it first and wanted to wait for the Marquis to come back. His wife, who was originally the most considerate of him, is now immersed in fighting with his mother and him. To this day, the two of them have not reconciled. So, I can see the depression. Qi Yuyi's plan for his son is to go forward when the time comes, and the father and son go into battle. When they got home, Qi Hua and the kitten became their favorites. Even when we went to have a meal at Yuzi Yowei, we took Qi Hua with us. At that time, there was a colleague who went out to suppress bandits with him. He also asked, why didn't Qi Xiao come? As a result, he said that Qi Xiao's wife was pregnant and he couldn't worry about being with her at home. But what I said, Qi Hua's wife is about to give birth, how can you take her out? Go to your mother's place, he called Qi Xiao. Yes, Qi Xiao has been particularly confused recently, but he actually wants to see his mother. But he felt scared and panicked. When Mrs. Su heard this, she followed behind silently. As soon as I entered MRSG's courtyard, I heard a lot of excitement inside. I remember Miss Wen asked for a picture of a lady in green. This one is of a rice bottom with a red flower skirt, isn't it a bit different? Don't listen to her. Although she has 2 brushes for painting, her taste is far inferior to mine. This painting belongs to my mother's collection. My sister-in-law was greedy at first and said that she could pick whatever she wanted. You want to switch with me? Ahem, Qi Yuyi brought someone in. Su's ears are very useful, and she knew that her mother-in-law was going to give Wenyu her collection again. I'm in a hurry, my stomach hurts. Looking at her husband in a blink of an eye. Qi Xiao was also looking at it. It seemed that her mother had taken out the paintings hidden in the library and was flipping through them. MRSG was in high spirits, with a smile on her face. Even my mental state and appearance have changed a lot recently. Even the clothes are fashionable. He looks 7 or 8 years younger. Seeing Qi Yuyi and 3 others coming in, he secretly sighed at the bad luck. What's wrong, General? He said lukewarmly. Qi Yuki sat there. MRSG told the girl, keep this and take the others back first. She turned to look at MRSU who wanted to see holes in everything. It's a mess here. MRSU, if you have anything to do, just say it first. If you don't have anything else, go back and rest. I just hit her when you come up. Chi Xiao lowered his eyes and said nothing. Chi Yuyi also pretended not to hear. My daughter-in-law does have something to do, but she doesn't usually see her mother, so she has no chance to talk about it. But my father is here, so please stay back about my daughter-in-law's affairs. After saying that, she left angrily. Let me ask you, your shop opened and you invited relatives and friends, but you didn't say a word to this house. Do you look down on the Chi family, or do you no longer regard yourself as a Chi family? Chi Yuyi was unyielding and began to question his guilt again. General, if I invite you, will you go? MRSG smiled half-heartedly. Chi Yuyi didn't expect her to ask this. I'm talking about my mother. You have to make her lose face among relatives and friends to feel better, right? You don't want to go yourself, so why do you care what others do? That's what you want to ask. Don't worry about whether I want it or not, you have to do what you have to do. I also went to have a drink with others. Fortunately, no one asked, otherwise, where would I put my old face? You mean, the store wants to see your face and give you free orders or discounts? What are you talking about? How many coins should I send? I don't know what you're doing with me. What else is there? I'm busy. You are becoming more and more lawless. You don't ask about Chi Xiao's affairs, and you don't care about his wife being pregnant. Now, except for the man named Wen, you don't care about anyone anymore. What you said is so strange. Chi Xiao, Su's housekeeper, takes care of his food, clothing, housing, and transportation. There is you as a father outside, taking care of his bright future. I am just a freeloader, what should I take care of? Besides, yes, he has a close relationship with the Su family, and the Su family has a prominent family background. It's easy to help him. Mother, Chi Xiao stood up. He was not angry either, but his chest was heaving. You talk like this, my son will be very sad. This is probably the first time that he has shown weakness in front of Chi. MRSG's heart felt really soft, but she thought of the days and nights she had spent. I think of what when you said, some people will not regret it until they are hit with the head by the south wall. Chi Xiao, when you are sad, have you ever thought that your sadness is not even 10% as bad as your mother's? Ms. Kui, what are you talking about with him? Chi Yuyi was unhappy. Chi Xiao didn't know what to do. My son went out first. Chi Yuyi is indifferent to Chi Xiao's sadness. He won't leave. General, I will not accept any of your accusations, so, if you have nothing else to say, I'm going out. Chi Yuyi actually sighed. I didn't expect that we would end up as husband and wife today. It seems that you have been doing well recently. As for me, there is something I want to mention to you. Speaking. Kitten is almost 14, and she has to prepare to talk to someone else. At first, I mentioned that I would put her in your name. For various reasons, I never did it. Now, I want to bring it up again. I'm not talking about our relationship as husband and wife, I'm just saying, this girl, Xiao Mao, is quite sensible, so you must have a cheerful temperament. Chi Yuyi, you don't even have to think about it. Kui. I will not record her in my name, nor will I worry about her marriage. Chi Yuyi, you said that the person behind you, if he knew that one day he would be asking for me, would he still be there? Will you choose to take Xiao away? What are you talking about? Mother has good intentions. Can you stop acting? You are so involved in the role that you have even forgotten who you are? That is Chi Yuduan's mother, his biological mother. MRSG sneered. Don't you feel strange? She can raise you and keep you by her side. She can also take Xiao away and keep you by her side. But not only does she not keep her biological son, she can even let her grandson go and let him follow her. Why is the Lord living in the Northwest? MRSG took the painting and left out the door coolly. The Duke's wife is beautiful but has a dark heart. Author, see the peach fish again. Chapter 215. What does Chapter 215 mean? MRSG took the painting and walked out the door. I thought about how my eldest son was already very old and was running around trying his best, but when he came back he didn't have a good future. His wife has no good wife, and he himself is still confused. What should he do next? When they arrived at the store, the little girls all said hello, hello, madam. Is when you here? As soon as she arrived here, her mood became brighter. The girl is here, she's upstairs. Master Ching is not here at the moment, so I don't know what he is busy with. As soon as he went up, when you opened the small door and said, Madam, I was talking about you yesterday. I found one of the paintings you mentioned last time to see if it would be good to hang it up. Have you found it? Let's go check it out. After saying that, when you took the painting in his hand, and then turned to MRSG, have you had breakfast? Zuzu made the stuffing yesterday, and there are crab roe soup dumplings. I'll try it at noon. The two of them went downstairs talking and laughing. There was an empty wall in the hall below. When you told MRSG that he wanted to find a painting to decorate it. What kind of painting does the madam hold? When you asked. MRSG smiled, see for yourself. When you opened it gently and took a look, this is, so beautiful. After looking at it carefully for a while, he looked at the signature again. Is it from Master Huang Ting? She was so surprised. MRSG smiled proudly, you know what you are doing. I only heard its name, but never saw its face. The two little girls took it and showed it to Wenyu at the empty wall. She squinted her eyes and looked back and forth. In this painting, you can feel the direction of the wind in the lady's hair and skirt. The colors are good, it should not be an ordinary painting. It really matches our style. Master Ching also came and stood there admiring. MRSG nodded, it's indeed good. It's better than hanging a lady in green as you said. Much better. I never imagined that it could have such an effect. I admire your lady's taste. MRSG knew that she was praising herself, but she still smiled happily. But, ma'am, when you reached out to take the painting and rolled it up carefully. There is a lot of turnover in the store, and there are all kinds of customers. Let's just make a painting for decoration. It's impossible to hang such an expensive painting. It doesn't matter, MRSG said. Madam, please listen to me. This painting is not only expensive, but most importantly, it is a treasure left to you by your mother. If anything goes wrong, we will feel sad and regret it. When she said this, MRSG also hesitated a little, but she had already brought it. Master Ching said, Madam, don't look at the girls and ladies in the shop. Most of them are of high status and have good manners. However, some people's thoughts are unpredictable. The day before yesterday, I found a piece of material that made people. It was stained with lipstick. The accessories on the table were also thrown away, and the doll was even cut. Is there such a thing? MRSG was surprised. That's right. The girl who stole the jewelry, actually, her mother spent a lot in the store. If she really likes it, it's okay to give her two things. But she doesn't, she prefers to steal. I was surprised when I heard it. So, let's hang such a good painting at home. Don't cause trouble for yourself. When you said. MRSG had no choice but to respond, okay then. When you added, when you is familiar with your painting skills. How about, you copy this painting and then we hang it up. I haven't written anything in years. Try it, and it doesn't have to be exactly the same, you can adjust it according to the colors we have here, maybe the effect will be better. Having said this, MRSG looked around and made calculations in her mind. Big sister, a voice laughed happily, and the three sisters Wen Xiao, Wen Wan, and Wen Su entered the store. Seeing Wen Yu talking to MRSG, he quickly saluted. MRSG, The three of them smiled like flowers. MRSG smiled and nodded. "Why are you here?" Wen Yu asked. "When the eldest brother went out to do errands, we followed him, wait until night and go back with the eldest sister." "Have you brought any money?" Wen Yu teased them. "Sister," Wen Jiao shouted, "you can't just recognize the money and not recognize the sister." "Recognize it? Why don't you recognize it?" "Just in time, today they have two separate lines and fight." "You are here, let's work." Wen Jiao stamped her foot. "Madam, you see, she treats her sister as a long-term laborer." "It's not long, I'm a day laborer." Wen Yu chuckled. "There are crab soup dumplings today. If you work, you will have something to eat." The girls really couldn't talk to her anymore, so they simply ignored her and started wandering around the store. MRSG said, "You sisters are so kind." "That's also true, Wen Yu has you and this shop," Wen Yu said frankly. MRSG nodded. Although she didn't know the details of Wen Yu's previous situation at home, judging from MRS Wen's reaction when the marriage was mentioned for the first time, there should be a story. However, it doesn't matter anymore. In the days to come, they will love each other and love Xiao Wu together, and that's enough. Today, Qi Xiao. She told Wen Yu about Qi Xiao. Wen Yu said, "Madam, my eldest brother has been living around people with ulterior motives since he was a child. His temperament, thoughts, and actions have been greatly affected. He hurt you without knowing it. Now it seems that he has woken up. Don't rush, don't push it, and give him time to reflect on himself." "You're right." MRSG had lunch with some girls from the Wen family. "What hasn't she eaten?" "But I also prefer Yanzhu side dishes, which are simple side dishes with crab roe soup dumplings and a bowl of soup." Wen Jiao and Wen Su also expressed satisfaction. Instead, Wen Wan eagerly hoped that Wen Yu could serve two hard dishes. Wen Yu just ignored her. "Just the crab roe soup dumplings are very expensive in this store. Let them eat for free, which makes me feel very sad." MRSG went back after finishing her meal. As soon as she left, Princess Huijuan came to take the things she ordered. Wen Yu was talking to the Wen sisters. When he saw her coming, he greeted her and introduced her three sisters. "I heard that these three girls are Wen Feng's daughters." Princess Huijuan looked her up and down carefully. They all looked pretty good, but they couldn't compare to Wen Yu. The three girls were a little uneasy when they faced the princess. But Kan Hui treated them very kindly and gradually let go. Wen Yu didn't understand what the princess meant, so he gave her side dishes and steamed buns for lunch, then said he was busy with something and hid. Looking again after a while, the three girls from the Wen family were chatting animatedly with the princess. On the way back, Wen Jiao said proudly, "The princess invites us to visit her house the day after tomorrow." Wen Yu grinned, "You must be too popular with the princess." "That's right. I thought you were the only one in the family who was capable." Wen Jiao was pleased with herself. The arrogance that had disappeared for a long time was back again. That night, something finally happened that made Su proud. Chi Hua's wife gave birth to a girl. Mrs. Su gently stroked her belly. "I have been unlucky for such a long time, but I finally heard some good news." "Haha, I thought Mrs. Wang was so capable. If not, I would still have a daughter. Fortunately, I didn't do anything." Originally, after she gave birth to a daughter, Mrs. Wang came in and was worried that someone would her son away from her husband. It just so happened that her mother had given her the medicine, and she gave it to her when she found an opportunity. I don't know whether it was the medicine that worked, or whether it was because Wang herself had difficulty conceiving, and it took her several years to get married before giving birth. This time when Wang was pregnant, she secretly thought about it for a long time and planned to take action. As a result, her personal nanny said that she found that the old lady was watching very closely. She was worried that something would happen, so she didn't dare. Later, when her husband came back, her mother-in-law arranged for Chi-woo to be engaged. She was unhappy all day long, so she ignored Wang. Haha, the result is so good without having to do anything, this is God's blessing. The eldest son of this generation seems to be crawling out of my belly. When MRSG heard the news, she sent Aunt Kui with a set of decent jewelry. When Mr. Tan knew about it, he smiled and asked people to give him this and that. When no one was in the room, her face dropped. Trash. It looks good, but she can't even give birth to a son. In order to let her give birth safely, I personally protected her. In the end, a girl was born, he cursed a few times. Sighed again, it's been almost a year since you got married, and no news of pregnancy has come back. This is really worrying. Zheng eldest grandson, very important. End of this chapter. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Duke's wife is beautiful but has a dark heart. Author, see the peach fish again. Chapter 216. When Huan was invited to Yongxiang several times to look at clothes and eat snacks, but she declined politely. But later, when she saw her female companions wearing new clothes, everyone was talking enthusiastically, but she couldn't get in the middle of the conversation and felt awkward. Today, I have to come. Because Prince Yongqing opened Chrysostom. She followed her female companion into the store and looked at the luxurious and stylish scene, as well as the polite clerk. Is this really done with gentle words? Thinking about her empty hands again, the gap was too big, which made her lose consciousness. If you can marry Yongqing, you can still compete with Wen Yu. In the future, Yongqing will be able to achieve what he wishes, then, everything you have now will be used to make wedding clothes for me. But now, she has no choice but to stay calm. But a clerk came over. When he saw her, his eyes lit up. Second girl. You are here. The eldest girl is busy upstairs. Do you want to ask her to come down? Wen Huan smiled coldly, since she is busy, don't disturb her. Yes, then, may I recommend something to you? No need, let me take a look first. The clerk saluted and left with a smile on his face. Eh? Wen Huan, what does she mean? Is your eldest sister busy upstairs? Huh? Oh. Wen Huan's tooth ached with hatred. Just as he was talking, a girl came and called, my princess has already dressed, and she wants the girls to come and have a look. Wen Huan quickly pulled the girl who was asking the question, let's go and have a look. Seeing the princess's beautiful dress, several people discussed it in a hurry, but they ignored the quarrel just now. Prince Yongqing entered the store accompanied by a group of people. Yanzu, with a veil on her head and ribbons on her sleeves, came out of the kitchen and walked to the pastry shop. Seeing a group of people coming in, she hurriedly hid among the tables and chairs on one side and moved out of the way of the main road. Yongqing maintains his identity and will not give a cook-looking person a second look. But somehow, he looked at it more. Then he stopped. Yanzu didn't look at who was coming, but carefully flicked the flower on her sleeves. Yongqing recognized it, this is the girl wearing a red cloak on the boat. She is the cook? How come? Seeing him stop, someone behind him was surprised, Your Highness. The Prince of Yongqing County reacted and knew that it would not be good to speak in the past. So, keep walking inside. He, the manager of the store, sent him upstairs with a smile. Entering the largest private room, he whispered to a young man with a calm face next to him. After hearing this, the young man turned around and went downstairs. When a clerk met him, he quickly smiled and asked, Sir, what are your orders? It's okay. You go about your business, I'll look around. Okay, if you have something to do, just call me. The young man walked around in the lobby and in front of the kitchen. Then, I came to the small door of the pastry shop. There was a curtain on the door. I opened a corner and saw a very beautiful girl talking to two people. Listen to the content, it seems to be talking about some kind of snack made today. Another waiter came over and asked respectfully, "This man, this is a snack shop. Do you need snacks?" "Oh, okay, choose the best one and get a large private room for the same price of 5 yuan. Don't choose too many, you won't be able to eat the food later." "Yes. Are all the people here cooks?" The waiter looked at it and said, "Most of them are, but some are not." "Can I put the snacks on your plate for you?" It seems that this guy was also trained by Master Cheng. He talked nonsense and went straight to business. The young man was amused. "Okay. That's it?" In the private room, Princess Yong'an took off her fitting clothes and felt satisfied. She was saying, "This shop in Beijing is quite to my liking. It's much more lively than the embroiderers at home. There are only two kinds of embroidery girls at home. It looks like it can be made with any kind of material." The princess's original clothes were dignified and exquisite. "The ones I tried on today are bright and casual. They have different styles, but the princess manages them well." This is Wen Huan's flattery. The girls next to me also chimed in and said some nice things. The young man came back and whispered a few words in Yongqing's ear, but Yongqing did not comment. I heard a long laugh. "The gold has arrived." The girls all frowned. The men all showed playful smiles. "How is it? This restaurant I mentioned is pretty good. I've been here 2 or 3 times and I'm never tired of eating." Jin Zi sat down carelessly. Wen Huan secretly hates that this is the one who found Daking. "Your Highness, you can order whatever you want to eat. I'm treating you today, don't compete with me, you are quite generous with the gold." The waiter brought the snacks, and they were all delicious. Jin Zi was happy when he saw it. "The snacks here are really good. My son likes them." Everyone looked at him helplessly. "Your son? The one that was stolen?" Jin Zi was extremely shameless and said loudly, "Man, give me 2 more boxes of bunnies and stuff in a moment, I'll take them back to him." Having a son means trouble, being a father has a lot to do, and he is troubled. The waiter nodded and bowed. He smiled so hard that he couldn't even see the customer who took action like this. The girl sitting next to Wen Huan said, "I don't know who opened this shop, but they really know how to think about it. The dim sum is beautiful and delicious." Yanzu has been very busy recently and has never bothered to get in touch with her veins. Today, I finally finished the fight and went out to find the beggar. Li Zhang was standing there scolding him, "It's so dirty. We have fine clothes and food here, so why do you stay here all day? You've driven away all our guests." He looked at it with disgust and pointed his finger, "Look at your clothes, you have to wear them forever. They stink." Yanzu came over and said, "Li Zhang, please stop scolding him. He doesn't understand. Miss Yan, he is really an eyesore here, look at the stench, you can smell it even 10 steps away from him." Yanzu smiled and said no more. She took the jade and was going to give it to him. As a result, Li Zhang said, "Girl, don't go there. He can't tell, there are lice on his body." Yanzu was shocked when she heard this. She was afraid of that thing. "Give it to me, I'll give it to him, don't let him stink you up and make snacks." Yanzu then handed the jade pendant to Li Zhang. When the beggar saw this, he looked at Li Zhang with cold eyes, but then lowered his head and smelled himself. Li Zhang pinched his nose with one hand and raised his jade pendant with the other. Yanzu said, "Be careful, don't fall." Au said, "This is expensive." By chance, 2 people were passing by on the roadside. They looked at each other after hearing the words. Yanzu went back after finishing his work. Li Zhang scolded the beggar again and left. The 2 people just now were squatting nearby, but when they saw that no one was around, they ran to beggar. They were probably habitual offenders. They didn't discuss it, just picked up a stone and smashed it. Another person goes to grab it. The arrangement was good, but as soon as they started to do something, for some reason, the two of them felt dizzy and fell to the ground in pain. And the beggar disappeared. After dinner, Prince Yongqing asked everyone to leave first, saying that he had to wait for someone else. Everyone agreed to go to the villa in the countryside of Prince Wu's mansion in a few days. Wen Huan didn't have the turn to talk to Prince Yongqing alone today, so he didn't really want to leave. He walked out the door and got in the car, but didn't leave. Waiting in the car, wanting to wait for Yongqing to come out before saying a few words to him. Last time, she did the same thing, and His Highness was quite happy. While waiting, I saw the one named Yanzu, humph. It looks tacky and mean. But at this moment, Prince Yongqing came out. Wen Huan was about to get out of the car, but found that he had taken a few hurried steps and arrived in front of Yanzu. Wen Huan was stunned for a moment. Although she didn't know what they were talking about, she saw Yongqing's expression and posture. It means that he attaches great importance to this person. For such a long time, he has never given these to himself. I don't know what the said in reply. Yongqing is laughing, he is laughing. Not the kind you smile at yourself, either politely, lightly, or with a little affection, smile. But, what a fool. Isn't everything I do worthy of such a smiling face? My heart is as cold as ice. What does it mean to be sad and frustrated? This is it. She didn't know, at this moment, a sad beggar was lying on the roof next to her, staring at the two people talking. The Duke's wife is beautiful but has a dark heart. Author, see the peach fish again. Chapter 217. Yanzu went to find Wen Yu, but there was no one in the room. When I went downstairs and asked, she said she was in a hurry to go out. Out, then, let me go. She adjusted her hair and clothes in the mirror and went out. The car was being loaded at the door. The young man just asked for 30 boxes of snacks, all packed in the best possible way, and asked Yanzu to send them to Prince Wu's mansion. Yanzu was very happy to take over such a large business personally. As soon as he arrived at the car, Li Zhang ran over. Seeing Yanzu looking like she was about to go out, he asked, "Miss Yan, what are you doing to deliver goods to customers?" Yanzu said, "This guest is from Prince Wu's mansion. He asked me to send him off in person, and he also asked me to introduce him to the princess." Li Zhang didn't believe it. "I want you to introduce dim sum to the queen concubine." "Miss Yan, that's the queen concubine. What are they busy with every day? How come I met you for a few boxes of dim sum? I didn't recognize you before." "It's not a few boxes, it's 30 boxes, Yanzu retorted. 300 boxes, the queen will not summon her." Li Zhang was anxious. "You say he is a liar." "No, he asked people to settle all the accounts." "That's not what I meant, but..." Okay, I'll go and be right back." "No. The girl is not here now, so you can't go out by yourself." "I'm not going by myself, Master Sun. Come on, look, Master Sun is going, and there's Jin Huan and Yin Huan following him. Isn't that enough?" "This. I'm going to Prince Wu's mansion, not to the corner of the corner." "Okay, I'll obey the customer." Yanzu happily got into the car, and Jin Huan and Yin Huan followed suit. Sun Ying scratched his head. Those who eat in the private room are not ordinary people. They have made requests. Don't worry, Prince Wu's mansion is not an ordinary place. Since we let the girl go, we shouldn't embarrass her. Li Zhang turned around anxiously. When will the girl come back? When you had indeed gone out. She came to Princess Weijuan's house. Princess Weijuan invited a few friends to play at home today, and also invited the 3 sisters from the Wen family. He also sent someone to the store to bring some food. He also asked someone to tell Wen Yu that if she was here and had the skills, she would also be invited to go. Wen Yu wanted to see what Princess Huijuan had in mind, so she also delivered the goods to her door. This was her first time to visit the princess. When she entered the door, she couldn't help but marveled. I heard from Mrs. Zhang that her late husband had a similar background to Magistrate Zhang. It seems that the princess's natal family has a lot of money. Actually, Wen Yu really likes this temperament. A group of women were sitting on the porch, wearing gorgeous spring clothes and a leisurely atmosphere, listening to music and watching dance. It's really enjoyable. When the princess saw her coming, she said to the person next to her, "Look, this is what I mean by gentle words." Wen Yu smiled and saluted, "Princess, ladies and gentlemen. Yo, this little one, it's so pretty. She's very capable. Recently, I've been throwing a lot of money at her," the princess said worriedly. "Tell us this, if you put a little bit between your fingers, Kui Fenying will be so beautiful." "Hey, why is she involved? This is her future daughter-in-law." "Oh, this is Qi Yang's fiancé." There was an uproar, and Wen Yu couldn't hear what everyone was saying. Anyway, judging from their faces, some were happy and some were unhappy. When Suhi Wenwan came over, "Big sister." Wen Yu smiled, "Is it fun?" Wen Yu turned to look for Wen Xiao. At first glance, I saw that she was sitting very close to the princess. She was dressed very beautifully and sat in a very presentable manner. She shook her hand with Wen Yu. "This is pride again." When Yanzu arrived at the palace, Sun Ying saw the majestic gate and the guards in front of it from a distance, and felt worried. "Girl, our status means we can't walk through the door." "Yes, what should we do?" As the car approached and stopped on the side of the road, a man came up and asked, "Are you bringing snacks to the palace?" "Yes, we are enjoying it." "Please follow me." The man didn't say much, turned around and walked towards the alley next to him. Sun Ying thought, it's better to go through the side door. Walked for a while and arrived at the side door. There is a female official who is quite old and is waiting with a few servants. Seeing the car coming, he stepped forward and asked, "Who is in charge?" Sun Ying and Yanzu looked at each other. "Me." Yanzu was really nervous. "Please follow me." He turned around and ordered his men to move the goods and take inventory. "Oh, then Jin Huan, you can follow me." Yanzu got out of the car and called Jin Huan. It was also the first time for Jin Huan to enter such a place. His calves were shaking and he carefully supported Yanzu. Looking around after entering the door, Yanzu felt a little regretful. She should have listened to Li Zhang. I saw the female official in front, walking at an even pace, as if measured with a ruler. The upper body did not move, and the tiny footsteps below made no sound at all. She became even more worried. Following the female officer through the courtyards, we finally arrived at a main hall. Two women stood motionless at the door. The female officer turned around, said softly, "Wait a moment," and went in. After a while, he came out, "Miss Yan, please come in. Your Majesty really wants to see me." There were no gentle words around her, and Yan Zhu's face turned pale. "It's okay, please come in." The female officer motioned to Jin Huan to stand where he was and not move. Yan Zhu had no choice but to go in. There are several people in the room, all doing their own things. Behind the large desk, a noble lady sat. Yanzu knelt down and kowtowed. Yanzu, a daughter of the people, has seen the empress. Her voice was a little weak. The noble lady looked down and said slowly, "No courtesy, stay flat." Yanzu stood up. Princess Wu took a closer look at it. No wonder she was attracted to her son, he is really a beauty. From her own perspective, with Yang Ru as the first, she has no favorable impression of any kind of beauty. When I first fell in love with Wen Yu, it was because that girl had a clean and well-behaved temperament, and she didn't seem to be entangled with a man. This one in front of me. What's your name? Princess Wu said in a very soft tone. The daughter of the people, called Yanzu. Who else is at home? Yanzu shook her head. To tell you the truth, Yanzu is an orphan. Princess Wu was even more unhappy. But looking at this girl, she is not too young, but her expression is innocent, and she is dressed more elegantly than ordinary official ladies. He shouldn't have suffered much. Then who are you, a gentle person? Does the Empress know the language? Princess Wu smiled. I am Uncle Au's goddaughter. Therefore, I am God's sister to Au. Zuzu is my sister. Yanzu relaxed. What is this mess? Can you make snacks? Two girls came in. One was holding two boxes, and the other was holding a plate with a few pieces stacked on it. They placed them in front of Princess Wu. They looked fresh and asked Yanzu. I know a lot about it, and the snacks I sent to my Empress were basically Yanzu's idea. Princess Wu tasted a little and said, well, it's really good. Okay, you can go down. Yanzu felt relieved, quickly saluted, and was led out by the palace maid. At the palace, two guards were patrolling when they suddenly heard a strange sound. I looked for it, but found nothing. Just smelled a strange smell. The two men twitched their noses to smell and search, but found nothing. What's so smelly? On the high roof, sat the beggar. He held his head in his hands, and his eyes, which were originally confused and dazed, turned out to be much more awake. But with some pain. Just now, he saw the lady in palace attire. At first glance, I was shocked and almost fell down. He should have recognized this woman, but the pain in her memory overwhelmed him like a tide. Nearly unable to breathe. A woman appears in my mind, extremely beautiful. But just like the person in the painting, she was neither happy nor sad, as if nothing in the world could move her. The Prince of Yongqing County returned to his residence after finishing his business. As soon as he entered the door, he knew that Yanzu had come with snacks, and his mother-in-law also met her. So he happily came in and asked. Princess Wu's face was not as good as he thought. How are you, concubine? If you like it, just keep it with you. Princess Wu was writing something. When he asked, she said nothing but obediently. But, didn't you say you wanted to choose a concubine last time? She comes from the common people and doesn't understand any rules. She looks too naive. Besides, she has a bad reputation as an orphan among the people. When she reaches the rank of concubine, she has to deal with the people in the house. It is possible to enter the palace for various things. She can't be like this. He is too young to be trained. Moreover, given her status as a concubine, her position is not low. But, based on her relationship with Wenyu may not be willing. She doesn't want to. What's the matter? It's her turn to speak. She married Chi Wu in a high position. Do you think she has the ability to make my decision? Then it will be done. If you can do it, it will be done. Concubine, my son asked, Yanzu, she is good at cooking and making snacks. In the future, I can take good care of my concubine. Princess Wu thought of the snacks she had just eaten. It's not bad. But, in order to please her, you brought so much home at once, and you couldn't eat it all? You made me give it here and there. I cursed in my heart, just like his father, a big lover. He, Prince Yongqing smiled. Mother, if I take her there tomorrow, wouldn't it be difficult? He thought that it would be a blessing in the world to be able to bathe with this beauty in a hot spring. It would be easier if it were someone else. She is involved with the Qi family and the Kui family. Just wait a little longer. Oh, Prince Yongqing lost his energy. The beggar was shocked by the past. When Yanzu left, he was not in a hurry to follow. As a result, I heard the conversation between mother and son. He was about to leave now. When he climbed over the wall and crossed the ridge, he finally alerted the palace guards and said, "Who is it?" "Stop," they were chasing him. He took his time and kept running. His movement skills weren't that special, so a secret guard caught up to him and slashed him with a knife. He dodged to the side, running towards the neck of the secret guard with his like swords. The secret guard didn't take him seriously at all. He ducked aside for a moment, but the knife continued to fall. But he never expected that a soft sword would come with his fingers. It was so powerful that the secret guard felt a chill on his neck and fell to the ground. The only person who saw his appearance died. The other guards could only smell the strong stench he left behind. The Duke's wife is beautiful but has a dark heart. Author, see the peach fish again. Chapter 218. Tomorrow, Wen Huan is going to the countryside of Prince Wu's mansion. Old Mrs. Wen felt that she had neglected Wen Huan too much, so she took out a set of jewelry from the warehouse and called her over. Those who go there are of high status. You have to dress up properly. These green hairpins were brought back by your uncle from the southwest many years ago. Although the carving is simple, the quality of this green hairpin is very rare. And it is special. It goes well with the clothes. Grandma has never worn it before. Take it. Wen Huan said softly, "Thank you Grandma for the reward." "Well, you've been going out alone recently, and you've had a good experience. Grandma isn't too nagging either. It's just that you have to live outside this time, but it's different from usual. Be careful. Go with the crowd, and don't go out alone. Walking outside, girl, please take care of yourself. Make sure to check the doors and windows carefully before going to bed. Girls should pay special attention to their reputation and safety when they are outside. It's no joke if anything happens. My granddaughter knows. It's raining now, so bring 2 extra sets of clothes and shoes." "Yes." Looking at Wen Huan obediently carrying her things and going out, the old lady felt a little uneasy. She knew that Mr. Yuan had been having troubles recently and had a gloomy face all day long. He was afraid that she would instigate Wen Huan to take risks. After all, Yuan did this herself and succeeded. "Sigh, but don't let me go, Wen Huan's performance is indeed good. If she really climbed up." Wen Huan returned to his room, where Yuan was waiting. "What did she ask you to do?" Yuan's voice was sharp and her face was gloomy. Wen Huan sighed secretly, sat next to her mother, and opened the jewelry box. "Grandma gave me some instructions and gave me a set of jewelry." Without even looking at it, Mr. Yuan sneered, "This snobbery, when he sees that you are capable, he comes to curry favor with you. Mother, this is human nature." Yuan she glanced at it and said, "Just trying to set things up like this? She can do it too." "Mother, you are so excited." Yuan didn't speak. "You don't even remember what you taught me," Wen Huan said with full force. "If you think so, even if my wish comes true, the Wen family will always be my backing." Yuanqi stayed for a while before nodding, "Mom, I'm just too disappointed in your father." "Mother, in fact, no one can count on you. The only one you can rely on is yourself." She was in the car and saw Prince Yongqing talking to Yanzu and making up lies to gain her trust. That thought she had met a big customer, so she enthusiastically introduced. And he listened with a smile. But his eyes have been looking at her, from her hair to her face, her gesticulating hands, and it's really disgusting. This time, man makes plans, but God makes things happen. No matter what, I have no regrets. Good daughter, you are doing a good job, this time, it's up to you. Good. Yanzu is back, but Wen Yu is not back yet. Li Zhang finally felt relieved when he saw her. After asking in detail for a long time, Sun Ying failed to follow up. Jin Huan followed him into the courtyard, but failed to enter the house. So, everyone is lamenting the luxury of the palace, but they don't know anything. Yanzu blamed Li Zhang for making such a fuss. Li Zhang just felt strange. Moreover, after Yanzu left, the beggar disappeared and has not come back yet. Walking back and forth at the door, when he saw Wen Yu coming back, he hurried forward and said, "Girl, you are back. What's wrong?" Li Zhang hurriedly explained the matter. After Miss Yanzu left, I asked around. Prince Yongqing stopped Miss Yan at the door and said a lot of words. Then, he ordered dozens of boxes of snacks. And even asked Miss Yanzu to deliver it in person. Wen Yu was also stunned. A county prince arranged this matter himself? Do you want Yanzu to send it off in person and let the empress see her? You must have no good intentions. This silly Zuzu. When she went in and told Yanzu, Yanzu didn't take it seriously, but he was very kind and didn't say anything else. He asked for snacks. The princess was also very kind. Besides Pingting, this was the first time I saw the empress. It's so impressive. There are so many female officials doing big things. What can I do if I'm a little girl? It's okay, don't worry. You won't listen to what I say. When you got angry. Okay, I'll listen. What do you want to do? Wear a cloak and a veil when you go in and out? When you are in the store and there are customers, you go to the hut? When no one is around, then. Okay, don't be angry with me, I will listen to you. Zuzu, it's not that I'm suspicious, it's just that this matter is really unreasonable. It's precisely because the empress does big things, so she doesn't have time to see you. Li Zhang is right, let alone 33,000 boxes, people will not take it seriously. You must have a purpose, and the prince must let you go. What should I do if I become a concubine? I'm not going, Yanzu glared. That's right, so, let's be careful, okay. Okay. I get it. It's really annoying. If he dares to have this idea, I will. He tilted his head and thought about it. What can he do? When you persuaded Yanzu, but he was still worried and passed the news to MRSG and Zhang Pingting. The three Wenjiao sisters have returned and are talking to Wenfeng and Wu about the princess's mansion. Wenjiao exaggeratedly described the luxury of the princess's mansion and the princess's regard for her. Wu listened with interest. Wenfeng had a gentle smile on his face. He has been on several dates with the princess recently. Once, he went to a dance hall owned by Sci-fi people. This was the first time he experienced such an atmosphere. A dancer with bare arms and legs. A shirtless man showing off his muscles. In front of everyone, boldly show off. This is really different from the Han people. The two of them drank wine with different flavors and commented enthusiastically. After drinking to a great extent, the princess even danced for a while. Shake your shoulders, spin in circles, beat the beat with your hands, and smile back. It stimulated him so much that he almost pounced on him. The princess also introduced us to those noble friends and said that she would take us with her when we go out to play in the future. Wen Jiao's neck was straightened. Wu said proudly, I heard that Wen Huan is going to King Wu's village Zhuangzi early tomorrow morning. Huh, Wen Yu and Wen Huan are both successful, and they won't help you. But my Jiao has the ability, and on her own, I can find a way out. She didn't even think about it. If it weren't for Wen Yu, would Wen Jiao be able to see the princess? Wen Jiao really thought that she was relying on herself, and she was very proud. Wenfeng was intoxicated in his thoughts, me and her, what does this mean? To this day, I have never even touched her hand, nor expressed any thoughts. Even though I was with her, I was quite happy. But, that feeling of having it right in your mouth but not being able to eat it. Haha, that's pretty good too. This is the first time that he enjoys the process and is not so hasty. Jian Pingting frowned when she heard the news. As soon as I heard when you sent someone to come, I thought there was something delicious, and someone who came over to catch the autumn wind immediately saw it. Ask her. Zhang Pingting told Taijun about this. Taijun sneered, Yongqing is his mother's big treasure, he just takes a concubine, and he wants the princess to look after him. What did you say, what concubine? Zhang Pingting was not happy. The grandson was yelled at by Zhang Pingting and glared at her. After thinking about it, he said, that's not necessarily true. His position as a concubine is empty now, maybe he wants to. Is there any difference between a concubine and a concubine? Zhang Pingting said coldly. Of course, but he didn't want to argue with Zhang Pingting about this, because he knew that Zhang Pingting was not willing to be his concubine. He got angry, why don't you want to? This Wang Wenwu has both cultivation, and has both morality. Another watch material for birth, and such a high identity. You are wronged by being my concubine? He groaned angrily. Zhang Pingting ignored him and murmured, if he really has this idea, what should he do? I have an idea, do you want to hear it? Please speak. Yanzu, that girl, was born with the most beautiful beauty in the world. I am the first to take her as my concubine, you sisters. Bah, you're dreaming. Zhang Pingting, you are neither big nor small, Taijun roared. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Duke's wife is beautiful but has a dark heart. Author, see the peach fish again. Chapter 219. When you returned home, Xiaoji secretly said to her. Girl, someone came to see Hong Xing today. She followed her out and always looked back. She seemed afraid that someone was following her. Fortunately, I had arranged for someone to go to the small courtyard at the back. It took a while to come out, and after a while, the second girl came out. Xiaoji did a good job, I understand. After Li Zhang told her, she asked the waiter who was present at the time to ask. The waiter said, when Prince Yongqing was talking to Miss Yan, a girl who was dining in a private room with him got in the car but did not leave. Stop in front and lift the curtain to take a look. Under various stimulations, when Huan is about to take risks. When you immediately sent Labo to report the news. This time, King Wu's courtyard was keeping an eye on him. At home. I am waiting. MRSG came to the store the next day. When you said to her, originally, I was thinking about Zuzu's affairs after we got married in the future. Now it seems that I have to think of something else. I'll tell you the truth. Some relatives and friends have mentioned two good ones. But, you see, Zuzu is so good looking, but she has no background. A mother-in-law might be worried about marrying a daughter-in-law like her to her son. There is trouble. Even if I reluctantly agree, Zuzu is talented in cooking, but if her mother-in-law doesn't like it, she will have a hard time. You are right, I have realized this too. Then let's hurry up, the situation in the store has stabilized, and she doesn't need to be there every day. If not, let her live at my parents' house and play with Wei Yuan for some time. That's a good idea, then I'll make arrangements. If Yanzu doesn't live at home, he still has to make arrangements for Lanzhou. As soon as MRSG left, Zhang Pingting came and said, let Lanzhou stay at my house. After hearing Wen Yu's arrangement, she came up with an idea. Let me take another look. Lanzhou is used to that small courtyard, and I am not willing to move it for him easily. Today is Princess Wu's birthday. I heard that the queen had some sour words and she moved to the countryside to take care of it. I guess she can't take care of it for a while. That person is really too much. He hangs Wen Huan while looking at Zuzu. Shameless, Wen Yu said bitterly. Wen Huan, do they mean this? Wen Huan saw you and me, and became competitive. We were talking about a good marriage, but we didn't want it anymore. She has been dating Yongqing County Prince for a long time. She has some ability, and she actually entered that circle. No future. Ping Ting, there's something I need to do. When you recalled the past with sadness on his face. Is there anything you can't tell me? My mother's death may not be that simple. What do you mean? Zhang Pingting understood immediately. She was not a fool. What do you want to do? Now, they still won't let me go, even the people around me have been bribed to attack me. When you sneered. That's crazy, your grandmothers are so smart, how can they be allowed to go crazy? She is just too smart, so she wants them all and thinks she can get them all. Do you have any evidence? Give it to me. Many years have passed, and it's long gone. Moreover, I guess that when my grandmother found out, it was already done, and she helped with the aftermath. So, there won't be any evidence. Anyway, greed will prompt them to do evil again. Yes. Especially if you do evil and get benefits but no punishment. If you encounter trouble again, you will take this shortcut. Ha! Zhang Pingting smiled bitterly. If you don't look for trouble, trouble will come. Come to you sometimes because of greed, and sometimes just because she thinks she can do it. Pingting, how are you? My grandson has been visiting me frequently recently, so I recruited Shui Ying. My former concubine was pregnant and she was attacked by her. So, she was afraid that I would be pregnant, so she added ingredients to the soup. This woman, what should I do? There are people around me who will see. That day, I returned the soup directly to the kitchen, saying it didn't taste right, and asked the chef to make it again. Then the next day, which happened to be the first day of the new year, I mentioned this when I paid greetings to the crown princess. When Shui Ying heard this, she got angry and asked the princess to hold her down. The crown princess is a little confused. She only has a son. No matter how important her mother's family is, it is not as important as her son. I'm afraid there are more important things in her heart. My father said that the crown princess's brother is quite capable. He is well informed in all aspects and is suspected of betraying his official position. Moreover, those things were approved by the Eastern Palace. My God, this is no small matter, the emperor will be sure of it. Yes. I told the news to the grandson, and he knew some of it. He said that it was done during the period when His Royal Highness the Crown Prince was in poor health. This is really in line with the saying, throw a rat into a trap. The Crown Prince was in poor health, and he had a close relationship with the Crown Princess, is very affectionate, and His Highness has to hide many things from him. But if this continues, the East Palace will be in danger. Last time we went to the hot spring village, wasn't it the one who had the attack? That time, it wasn't considered an attack. That one was, capable of ruthless attacks. Pingting, I got my mother's dowry, got a good marriage, established myself in the capital, we met again, and made good arrangements for my family. Now I have opened a shop, everything is going smoothly. I thought everything would fall into place. After cleaning up the Wen family, everything will be perfect. But I didn't expect that there is still such a crisis. When I enter the prince's mansion, it means dragging the family into trouble. Pingting gently pinned her warm words behind her head. However, Grandpa is very considerate and can't avoid what he says should come. But Shui Ying is so shameless, how can she deserve this status? Perhaps the crown princess thinks that the troubles she made are nothing to worry about. But where did this go? In my opinion, she herself is also being protected by the prince. Yes. Smart little girl. She sees things quite clearly. When you said worriedly, Shui Ying is a quick and easy person. Is there anyone around you? Your Highness said that arrangements have been made, so I can rest assured. Your Highness treats you well. Heh, he's so weird. The two sisters were chatting in the room, and Li Zhang was wandering around the door. It took him a long time to realize that the beggar had returned. Hardly recognized them all. He wears a blue cloth headband and a blue cloth shirt. Looks like he took a shower, brushed his beard, trimmed his nails, and changed his open-toed shoes. Although the clothes are still not that good, they are clean. Well, the jade on my waist is still there. Shrugged my nose, it finally doesn't stink anymore, no wonder I didn't notice it right away. Where did you get it so clean? Are these clothes stolen? The beggar looked at him silently and said nothing. Li Jiang loves to make a fuss, so he ran back to call Sun Ying. Jin Huan came, and after a while, Yan Zhu came too. Lately, the store always throws some food for him. Although he couldn't guarantee 3 meals a day, he obviously gained a few pounds and his face became brighter. Li Jiang looked at him curiously. Don't tell me, he looks pretty good. Is he not so stupid anymore? His eyes are rolling. Yan Zhu said, Li Jiang, don't talk nonsense. Well, that's good of you. It would be great if you help us with some work and don't eat for free. Li Jiang said, what can he do? Just now, the chef said that it was windy and rainy yesterday, and the firewood was soaked. It started to smoke when it was burned. I just brought 2 fruit trees from the warehouse, and they will be chopped. Can you do it? You must be able to handle the firewood. If I chop it, I'll give you something delicious. The beggar immediately stood up and stood beside Yan Zhu. Yan Zhu said, do you understand? Come on then. At the back of the restaurant, Yan Zhu pointed to 2 sections of dead trees on the ground. This is it. The beggar stepped forward, picked up the axe that was lying on the ground, and weighed it in his hand. He seemed dissatisfied. I tried the strength with my hands and was not satisfied either. I saw a whetstone next to me, so I walked over, poured some water on the stone, and started sharpening it. Li Jiang saw his skillful movements and was surprised. Is it possible that you used to be a woodcutter? The beggar ignored him, and Li Jiang continued to ask, carpenter? Blacksmith? Sun Ying looked at it and curled his lips. Li Jiang, don't mess with him. What's wrong? I can't tell, anyway, be polite. Cut. Li Jiang refused to accept it and walked away with his hands behind his back. Sun Ying also left. Yan Zhu moved to a small stool and sat down, holding her chin in her hands, and sighed softly. I did something wrong, and some of them said. The beggar actually looked at her and shook his head slightly. But Yan Zhu didn't look at him. Oh, maybe I'm quite stupid. This morning, MRSG came, and so did the general. It's because I did something wrong. Alas, MRSG said, let me clean up. Go and stay at Kui's house for a while. The beggar disagreed and continued to shake his head. Yan Zhu said, although I like Xiao Yuan, what will Lanzhou do when I leave? Besides, I really like coming to the store. What a bad luck, I have to burn incense. The beggar listened carefully and chopped firewood carefully. Yan Zhu, who had not done much work and was still in a daze, heard Li Jiang's cry. When he looked again, he saw that the firewood had been chopped. Then roughly divided into 5 piles, all of the same length. Each one is extremely beautiful. Even if there are some that are not thick on one side, he has forced them into the same shape, neatly stacked them. Li Jiang shouted, this is firewood for roasting ducks. It's not for making furniture. Why did you do it like this? Why are you willing to burn it? You are really weird. Yan Zhu couldn't help laughing. The beggar looked at her deeply with a tender look on his face. The Duke's wife is beautiful but has a dark heart. Author, see the peach fish again. Chapter 220. At night, when you sat in front of the dressing mirror, Xiaoji stood behind her, using a comb to smooth her hair. The girl's hair is so nice. Really, when you was very proud, I eat 3 honey and black sesame made by Zuzu every day, my hair feels shiny recently. Beside him, Laba was messing with the quilt. King he went back to his house. Hong Xing is outside, pouring water for Wen Yu. The capital is dry, and Wen Yu is used to waking up in the middle of the night and taking a few sips. After the water was poured, Hong Xing listened attentively. Ziaji was still chatty with Wen Yu. Laba opened the cabinet door and was changing the thin silk quilt. It's now. She reached out and took out the paper bag in her arms, opened it, and found a little powder inside. She had already packed the medicine into portions before, and only a little was enough. Having made the decision, he poured the powder in without hesitation. She has practiced this action several times, making sure to do it quickly and accurately without falling outside. Just wanted to get a spoon and stir it. Suddenly a hand patted her shoulder. Hong Xing, what are you pouring into the girl's cup? This is the sound of Laba. Hong Xing howled and almost died of fright. But he immediately reacted and reached out to touch the cup, trying to knock it over. What are you thinking about? Laba seemed to be slower than her, but for some reason, he picked up the cup first. Looked at it and smelled it. I was pouring water for the girl, you scared me. Hong Xing broke into a white sweat. Why is it so noisy? Wen Yu appeared at the door with long hair draped over one shoulder. Hong Xing was confused. She didn't know whether the girl was waiting for her to make a move, or whether she was just rushing. Girl, I just saw Hong Xing pouring something powdery into your cup. Oh? Hong Xing, what did you put in my cup? Wen Yu asked softly, walked over and sat down. No. I didn't do anything. I just poured water, Hong Xing explained quickly. Then what is this? Laba pointed to the paper she dropped on the ground in panic. I don't know, Hong Xing answered completely subconsciously. But she knew that the situation was over. She is finished. What to do? They have blocked the road for a long time. I can't get the eldest wife and the second girl to blame with just my mouth. Even if he got involved with them, he wouldn't be able to survive. So he gritted his teeth and said, Girl, there is nothing in this water. If you don't believe it, Hong Xing will drink one and show it to you. She is really ruthless and will rob someone whenever she comes up. Laba held the cup in one hand and gently hid it. With the other hand, he held Hong Xing's finger, and then gently broke it. A click sound. Hong Xing paused for a moment, and suddenly felt a heartbreaking pain that made her scream loudly. She clenched her right hand with her left hand and jumped on the spot. Snot and tears flowing down. He screamed twice and bit his lips tightly. His face was twisted and his whole body was trembling. Want to die? If the girl doesn't agree, you'll die. Hong Xing looked at Laba with tears in her eyes. Laba smiled calmly, as if nothing had happened. Hong Xing, are you going to kill me? Wen Yu asked. Girl. Hong Xing knelt on the ground, and after a while, she murmured, it's Hong Xing who can't help you, and just wants to die. Death, it's a human being, and he must die sooner or later. This cannot be regarded as a punishment for doing evil. No matter what, I can't live anymore. Yes. You will definitely not survive, Wen Yu said calmly. Hong Xing wanted to die, but when she heard Wen Yu say this, she became scared again. All you can ask for now is a good death. Instead, I will throw you into a place like Nanjing, let those who can't afford a wife, do hard work, and like to ruin people, torture you to death. Ah, girl, no, no, please. Hong Xing was dumbfounded and planned to crawl over to ask for gentle words, but Laba kicked her. Wen Yu was wearing fine pajamas and looked at her with a normal expression. After being kicked, girl, don't do this. Hong Xing stuck out her tongue and wanted to bite it to commit suicide. With his quick hands and eyes, Laba plucked off her chin. Are you seeking death in front of me? You don't take me seriously. Laba has always been unhappy with people who cause trouble for her. So, he held up Hong Xing's right again and said seriously, "This time, it's the same hand. If you make trouble again, I will break both hands for you, so that you can't wipe your even when you pee or pee." Wen Yu glanced at her and said something so unpleasant. Hong Xing didn't understand for a moment, and was looking at Laba with tears on her face, when she saw her give another light click, and her other finger was broken again. Hong Xing screamed loudly. It hurt so much that she peed. "Spare my life. Ah, girl, I don't dare anymore, please spare me." Xiaoji saw that she peed on the floor. "You are so annoying," he quickly went to find a cloth to wipe. King He in the next room finally heard the noise, put on his clothes and came to the door. "Girl." Wen Yu thought to herself, it might as well let her take a look. "Come in." As soon as King He came in, he saw Hong Xing lying on the ground with her left hand holding her right hand, bent like a shrimp, with tears and runny nose on her face, and she kept begging for mercy. "Girl," Qing He was scared to death. Wen Yu ignored her and just looked at Hong Xing coldly. "You don't believe what I said?" "Believe it, I believe it, girl, don't let her fight again." "Do you know what to do, tell me?" "It's the second girl." "It was the second girl who asked me to do it." She is jealous of your marriage." "The eldest lady, asked me to do it a long time ago. I have been hoping that the girl will pay attention to her. But the girl always ignores me." "Speak well, what a mess." Hong Xing calmed down for a while before speaking slowly. "In Zhangzhou, every time when the eldest wife's side, Aunt Su, comes back, she always asks me about the girl and gives me benefits. When the uncle got married, you made the eldest lady very angry. Mother Su was also very unhappy and pointed at me and scolded me for a long time. Give me money and a pack of medicine, and let me find a way to get rid of you." Here, the most surprised person was Qing He, who was trembling with fear. "If it happens," Aunt Su said, "she would arrange for me to marry the second girl by her side. I took the medicine bag, but I didn't dare to do it. After a while, you have a good marriage, so I don't want to do it." When we arrived in the capital, Aunt Su ignored me, and I ignored her. "Girl, I can always hope that you can reuse me. But you, even use the new Laba, but not me." She looked at Laba, who was smiling proudly at her. "Now, I finally understand why the girl uses Laba, she can hit people." Hong Xing looked at her hand that had quickly swollen into a bun. "What a delicate little hand, she is so cruel. A few days ago, when you were both away from home, the second girl found me and gave me some conditions. She told Wen Huan's promise in detail. The second girl said it when she left, and she will do it when she is not at home. Hong Xing, do you think that if you kill me, you can get benefits safely? If I die, the Wen family will no longer have the Qi family. After such a big loss, will the old lady spare some of you? Wen Huan, will you be allowed to take advantage of her again?" The second girl said that I didn't have any evidence and couldn't implicate her. Therefore, she didn't take me seriously. "Because you are nothing, it is easiest to kill you. How practical is it to pull a roll of mat out of the city? What can't be spent for 2 taels of silver, but 500 taels?" Hong Xing said confusedly, "I don't know how we got to this point, if you. Even now, you still say it's someone else's fault. You said I don't want to reuse you, Hong Xing. I patted my heart and asked myself, are you worthy of me? You have been with me for 7 or 8 years. Before I was 15 years old, how do you do things? What's your attitude towards me? Can't you tell me that I'm stupid?" After Hong Xing heard this, she lay on the ground and shook her head. "Even if I don't reuse you and I can't achieve your wishes. To be honest, as long as you are honest and abide by your duties, I won't treat you badly. But you don't want to. You are wishful thinking and don't say it. More importantly, you look down on me.